My ex gave loan sharks my address as his emergency contact. I was climbing the stairs to my apartment Tuesday night when I saw them. Two men waiting between the third and fourth floor. It was 9:32 p.m. I'd just finished 12 hours of overtime processing insurance claims. Karen, the bigger one, stepped forward. Your boyfriend Jake says you're good for his debt. My keys dug into my palm. Jake and I broke up 8 months ago. That's not what the paperwork says. The smaller one blocked the stairs going up. I couldn't go back down because the first guy was behind me now. My heart hammered against my ribs. What paperwork? What debt? $8,500, due Friday. I almost laughed. It was so absurd. Jake doesn't have $8,000. He couldn't even pay his half of groceries. He had enough to play poker 3 times a week. Everything clicked. Those job interviews he needed my car for. The work supplies he bought on my Amazon account that he'd sell for cash. I'd found out about all of it after we broke up. Changed every password, removed him from my bank accounts. Thought I was safe. Whatever Jake owes, it's got nothing to do with me. The big one pulled out his phone. You're listed as emergency contact at Fast Cash Loans, Quick Money Express, Payday Plus. Being an emergency contact doesn't make me responsible for, this isn't a payday loan operation, sweetheart. This is Asher Jones. And Jake signed papers saying you're the co-borrower. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone. Look, here, our breakup text from March, 8 months ago. Whatever he signed after that. The smaller guy grabbed my phone and threw it against the wall. It shattered into pieces. Jake owes us $8,500 by Friday. You can pay it or we take it in trade. Your signature on these papers or your bones. Choose. I tried to scream, but his hand covered my mouth. The smell of cigarettes and something metallic. I bit down hard and he cursed, pulling back. A door opened down the hall. Everything okay out there? It was Elena from 4D, 67 years old, walked with a cane, always had cookies. Mind your business, Grandma, the big one said. I used the distraction to push past them, trying to run up the stairs. The smaller one grabbed my left wrist and twisted. I heard the crack before I felt it, like stepping on a branch. Then the pain hit and I collapsed on the stairs, my vision going white. Shit, let's go. They ran. Elena was already on her phone. Yes, police and ambulance. 4th floor. She's hurt. They attacked her. She sat with me on those stairs, my wrist bent at an impossible angle. I saw them, honey. I saw their faces. The EMT arrived first. Young guy, maybe 25, very careful with my arm. Defensive injury, he said to his partner, examining the bruises already forming. See here? She was trying to pull away when it broke. At the ER, the intake nurse typed while I talked through tears. They said my ex-boyfriend signed papers. That I was a co-borrower. They wanted my signature or they'd hurt me. She typed exactly what I said, every word. Later, that would matter. The x-ray showed a displaced fracture. You need surgery, the doctor said. Tomorrow morning. The bones need to be realigned with pins. How much? With your insurance? Probably $6,500 minimum. Plus whatever time you missed from work. Hospital security asked if I wanted to file a police report. The officers who came looked tired and skeptical. You didn't see who attacked you? I saw them perfectly. 2 men. The tall one was white, maybe 40, brown hair, scar on his left cheek. The short one was Asian, younger, dragon tattoo on his neck. But no witnesses to the actual assault? My neighbor Elena heard isn't saw, and building security says they didn't see anyone unusual tonight. There are cameras in the hallways, not in the stairwells. Privacy concerns. They left me with a case number and no hope. I borrowed the nurse's phone to check my messages. One text from an unknown number, a photo of a loan document with my signature, except I'd never signed it. The message read, pay up or this goes to credit agencies tomorrow. Elena appeared in my doorway then, still in her nightgown and slippers. I recorded everything on my phone, she whispered. From my doorway. The whole thing. My good hand grabbed hers. But Karen, there's something else. Those men? I've seen them before. They visit Marcus, the building manager, every single week. The surgery went well, but waking up with my arm in a cast and my life in ruins wasn't exactly a victory. Elena had brought my work laptop to the hospital. She'd also brought my charger, my reading glasses, and a thermos of her homemade soup. I logged into the hospital Wi-Fi with my good hand, typing passwords one finger at a time. What are you doing? Elena asked. My job. I'm a medical biller. I document everything for a living. Time to document this. I started with my bank accounts. Jake had tried to add himself back 3 times since our breakup. All denied, but then I checked my credit report. Oh my God. What? He took out 5 different loans. Look, Fast Cash Loans. $8,500. Taken out in April, 1 month after we broke up. He'd used my social security number, my mother's maiden name, everything. Quick Money Express, $12,000 in May. Payday. Plus $7,500 in June. Liberty Lending, $9,000 in July. Cash Now, Solutions, $10,000 in August. Total, $47,000. All with my information, all with forged signatures, all sent to accounts I didn't control. That bastard, Elena said. I created a spreadsheet, date, lender, amount, account numbers, everything cross-referenced. Then I started documenting the attack. Time, 9:32 p.m. Location, stairwell between floors 3 and 4. Witnesses, Elena Morrison, 4D. Attackers, 2 males. Descriptions recorded with police report number 7839B. The nurse came in to check my vitals. How's the pain? Fine. Listen, you were at intake last night, right? The one who typed up my statement? Yeah, that was me. Why? Did you write down what I said? About what those men said to me? She looked confused. Of course. We document everything, especially with assault cases. Legal requirement. Can I get a copy of those notes? You'll have to request your medical records. But yeah, everything I typed is in there. Word for word. I specifically remember writing about them mentioning your boyfriend and needing your signature as a co-borrower. It was 9:47 p.m. when I entered it. My heart jumped. Medical records were legal documents. Time-stamped. Official. Elena squeezed my good hand. That's evidence. It's more than evidence. I know this system. Medical documentation holds up in court better than almost anything else, and if the nurse wrote that they said Jake signed transfer documents and needed my signature as a co-borrower, that proves they weren't there for a legitimate debt. Exactly. Legitimate lenders don't break bones. I pulled up the hospital portal on my laptop, requested my full medical records, then I searched for Asher Jones. Hundreds of complaints online, all the same pattern. Boyfriend borrows money, girlfriend gets threatened, some paid, some ran, some ended up like me, in the hospital. Elena read over my shoulder. This one's from 2 months ago. A teacher in Queens, her husband borrowed $15,000. They broke her fingers. We need a lawyer. I know someone, Elena said. From my old job, she does legal aid now. Sarah from legal aid called back while I was waiting for my medical records to process. Elena gave me the basics, she said, but I need to know exactly what they said to you. They said Jake signed papers saying I was a co-borrower. They wanted my signature or they'd break my bones. Did anyone hear this? Elena heard it, and the nurse wrote it down. The nurse? When they brought me in. The intake nurse. She typed everything I said. My laptop pinged. Medical records ready for download. I clicked the link with my good hand. Hold on. I'm pulling it up now. The file was huge. Surgery notes, x-ray reports, billing codes. I scrolled to the emergency intake section. There it was. Time-stamped 9:47 p.m. Patient states attackers said, quote, boyfriend signed transfer documents. Need her signature as co-borrower, end quote. Patient reports being cornered in stairwell by 2 males demanding payment of $8,500. Patient attempted to show proof of relationship termination 8 months prior. Attackers destroyed patient's phone. Physical assault occurred when patient attempted to flee. Patient states neighbor witnessed attack and called 911. Karen, this is gold, Sarah said. Medical records are legal documents. The nurse documented that they specifically said transfer documents and co-borrower. There's more. I kept scrolling. The billing code. Look at this. They coded it as assault by multiple perpetrators. Code X85.2. What else? My emergency contact form from my last visit 6 months ago shows Jake was removed as emergency contact on March 15th, 8 months before the attack. Send me everything. Screenshots, PDFs, all of it. I found something else while uploading the files. The discharge summary mentioned defensive wounds on both arms, not just the broken wrist. The doctor had photographed bruising on my right forearm where I'd tried to block them. My left shoulder showed grab marks. Sarah, what did they tell the police? The attackers? According to the police report, when they were questioned later, they claimed they were just discussing a business opportunity with you. Said you got aggressive and fell down the stairs. But the medical notes say they admitted to being there about a debt. About Jake's debt specifically. Exactly. Their story to the police completely contradicts what the medical evidence shows they actually said. Elena leaned over. Tell her about the building manager. What about him? Sarah asked. Elena says she's seen these same men visiting our building manager Marcus every week. Always on Tuesdays. Always with envelopes. Silence on the other end. Then, Karen, that suggests ongoing criminal enterprise. If we can prove Marcus is taking bribes to give out tenant information, this becomes much bigger than just your assault. Can we subpoena building records? We need more first. But this medical documentation is huge. It proves they came there specifically to extort you for a debt you don't owe. That's criminal. The contradiction between what they told you and what they told police shows consciousness of guilt. So what now? Now I file an amended police report with this medical evidence. Force them to actually investigate. But Karen, you need to know something. Asher Jones doesn't just hurt people once. If he thinks you're building a case, he'll escalate. What do you mean, escalate? I mean, you need to be very careful. These people don't play by rules. They'll go after your job, your credit, your family, whatever they think will make you back down. I looked at my cast. They already broke my wrist. That was business. This would be personal. Elena grabbed the phone. She's not alone. I'm here. We're documenting everything. Good, Sarah said. Document everything. Save everything. And Karen, request your phone records from your carrier. Show all the texts Jake sent after your breakup. Show you had no contact for months. Build your timeline. I can do that. This is what I do for a living. I build medical cases against insurance companies. I can build this. Then let's nail these bastards. 3 days after surgery, I finally went back to my apartment with Elena beside me and my left arm in a cast. Marcus was in the lobby sorting mail. He looked up, saw my cast, and immediately looked away. Marcus, I need to talk to you. I'm busy. About the security footage from Tuesday night. He kept sorting mail. Footage was corrupted. Technical glitch. Happens sometimes. Just from that night? Just the stairwell? System's old. The building owner won't pay for upgrades. Elena stepped forward. Marcus, I see those 2 men visiting you every Tuesday. They bring envelopes. He dropped the mail, letters scattered across the floor. You don't know what you're talking about. Brown envelopes, Elena continued. Always around 10 in the morning. You meet them in your office. 5 minutes later, they leave without the envelopes. Marcus's face went red, then white. You need to be careful. Both of you. Is that a threat? It's advice. You don't know who you're dealing with. Then tell me. He looked around the empty lobby, then leaned in close. His breath smelled like coffee and fear. Asher Jones owns half this neighborhood. Not legally, but he owns it. You think I want those men coming here? You think I have a choice? You gave them my schedule, I said. You told them when I'd be coming home alone. I didn't tell them anything. Then how did they know exactly when to wait for me? He started picking up the scattered mail. Maybe your ex-boyfriend told them. Jake doesn't know my overtime schedule, but you do. I file complaints about the broken elevator when I work late. You have a whole folder with timestamps. You can't prove anything. Actually, she can. We all turned. Tommy, the night security guard, stood in the doorway, 6'4", built like a linebacker, usually silent as a ghost. Tommy, this doesn't concern you, Marcus said. Yeah, it does. You made it my business when you paid me $200 to say the footage was corrupted. Marcus went completely still. But here's the thing, Tommy continued. I kept a backup. Everything from that night, both men's faces, clear as day, them waiting by the stairs for 40 minutes, them running after the attack. Delete it, Marcus said. I'll give you 500. I have 3 kids, Marcus. 3 kids who ask why daddy comes home with bruises sometimes. 3 kids who deserve better than a father who helps cover up assault. You don't understand what they'll do to you. I understand what they already did to her. He looked at my cast. I understand that next time it might be worse. Next time it might be one of my kids coming home late from practice. Marcus slumped against the wall. If I don't cooperate, they'll destroy me. They have connections everywhere. Building inspectors, fire marshals, health department, one phone call and this building gets condemned. And then we need to make sure they can't make that phone call, I said. You really don't get it. Asher Jones has been doing this for years. Dozens of buildings, hundreds of tenants. The cops know. They don't care. Some cops might not care, I said, but federal prosecutors might. Crossing state lines to commit extortion, RICO charges, interstate commerce violations. Tommy pulled out a USB drive. The footage is all here. Both cameras, 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. You can see them checking their phones, probably getting updates about when you left work. I took the USB. Marcus, you can cooperate with the investigation, or you can go down with them. Your choice. If I cooperate, I'm dead. If you don't, you're an accessory to assault, maybe attempted murder given how they twisted my wrist. That's prison time. He looked between us, then at the scattered mail on the floor. They'll be here tomorrow, he finally said. 10 a.m., like always, brown envelope full of cash. They collect their weekly payment from the poker games and pay me my cut for information. What information? Tenant schedules. Who's behind on rent? Who's vulnerable? Who might have money problems? Who's dating who? My stomach turned. You've been feeding them victims. I've been surviving. Elena picked up her cane. So were we. Until Tuesday night. Sarah came to my apartment that afternoon to review everything we'd gathered. She spread the documents across my kitchen table. Medical records, police reports, Tommy's USB drive, Elena's phone recording, Marcus's confession about the weekly envelopes. This is solid, she said. Really solid. But Karen, these people don't play fair. They already broke my wrist. That was business. This is different. You're building a case that threatens their entire operation. She filed the amended police report electronically while I watched, attached all the medical evidence, the contradictions in the attacker's statements, the proof that Jake had been removed as my emergency contact 8 months ago. Now we wait, she said. We didn't wait long. 6 hours later, my phone rang. My supervisor at MedBill Solutions. Karen, I need you to come in immediately. I'm on medical leave. My wrist. We've received a complaint. Anonymous tip about prescription fraud. My blood went cold. What? Someone claims you've been altering patient records to get controlled substances. The board is launching an investigation. That's insane. I don't even have access to prescription systems. I handle insurance billing. You're suspended effective immediately. No access to company systems. No patient data. We'll need your laptop back. This is retaliation. I filed a police report today against... I can't discuss it further. HR will be in touch. I sat there staring at my phone. My income, gone. My reputation, under attack. Another call. My bank. Miss Patterson, we're calling about unusual activity on your accounts. What kind of activity? Someone's been attempting to open credit cards in your name. 3 different applications in the last hour. We've frozen everything as a precaution. Elena appeared in my doorway. Her face was white, paint specks in her gray hair. They spray painted my door, she said. Mind your business, in red letters. Sarah called an emergency meeting the next morning. I can't afford a lawyer now, I said. No job, no income. My savings will cover maybe 1 more month of rent. That's why we go federal, Sarah said. Loan sharking across state lines. That's FBI territory. But we need more evidence. We need to show a pattern. How? Find other victims. Document everything. Build a case so big they can't ignore it. I created a fake email account, started fresh 2024 at protonmail.com, started searching online for Asher Jones, consumer complaint sites, legal forums, local Facebook groups. His name appeared everywhere. 47 complaints in the last 2 years. All the same pattern. Boyfriend or husband borrows. Girlfriend or wife gets threatened when she won't pay. Some paid up, some ran, some ended up in hospitals. I started messaging them, kept it simple. I'm building a case against Asher Jones. He broke my wrist last week. If you want justice, let's talk. 3 responded within hours. The first was a nurse from Brooklyn. They broke 2 of my fingers. Said it was interest on my ex's debt. The second was a teacher from Newark. My husband's in hiding. They threatened our daughter's school. The third was a retail manager from Philadelphia. I have recordings. Been documenting for months. We set up an encrypted group chat on Signal. Disappearing messages enabled. Over the next week, our encrypted chat grew from 3 victims to a network of survivors. Maria, the nurse from Brooklyn, was first to share her full story. My ex borrowed $8,000 for medical equipment he was supposedly selling to clinics. I found out later he was betting on illegal fights in Chinatown. When Asher's men came to collect, I showed them our breakup papers from 6 months prior. They didn't care. Broke my index and middle fingers. Said it was interest on his debt. The emergency room doctor asked if I wanted to press charges. I said yes. The police took one look at my ex's signature on the loan papers and said I was listed as guarantor. Case closed. Janet, the teacher from Newark, typed slower. Her grammar perfect, even in texts. My husband Marcus gambled away $40,000. Our entire savings, our daughter's college fund, everything. When I refused to sign a second mortgage on our house, they showed up at my school during parent-teacher conferences. 200 parents in the building. They waited by my car, told me they knew which preschool our daughter attended, which route the bus took. I went to the police station that night. The detective actually laughed, said if my husband owed money, that was a civil matter. 3 days later, my car caught fire in the school parking lot. Electrical malfunction, the insurance said. Denise, the retail manager from Philadelphia, had the most documentation. My boyfriend Kyle forged my signature on 12 different loans, $73,000 total. I didn't know until the first enforcer showed up at my store. I started recording everything after that, every conversation, every threat, 6 months of audio files. When I tried to file a police report, they said the recordings were inadmissible, no consent from the other party. Pennsylvania's a two-party state. But federal court isn't, I typed. FBI can use them. We started sharing everything. Maria had photographed her injuries and kept all her medical records. Janet had her Ring doorbell footage showing the same enforcers visiting her house repeatedly. Denise had traced the money through public records. Asher's real name is Ashley Marcus Jones, Maria wrote. Born in Newark, 1982, had a finance license from 2005 to 2019. Lost it for running a Ponzi scheme. SEC filing says he stole $4 million from elderly clients. Only served 18 months. He's been running this loan shark operation since 2020, Janet added. I found 14 LLCs registered to variations of his name, all dissolved within months of opening, always one step ahead of investigators. Denise knew the most about his current operation. 14 enforcers that we know of. They rotate cities every few months to avoid building patterns. 3 collection points where debtors make payments. 1 in Newark, 1 in Philly, 1 in Brooklyn. The main office is above a pizza place in Newark. Legitimate business on paper. How do you know all this? I asked. My ex Kyle turned informant when they started threatening his mother. Gave me everything before he disappeared. Physical records are kept in a storage unit in Jersey City, Unit 447 at Secure Store on Montgomery Street. I started mapping everything on my laptop. Every victim we could identify, every enforcer named in complaints, every property manager taking bribes. Marcus isn't the only one, Maria wrote. I know of 3 building managers in Brooklyn on Asher's payroll. They get $500 a month to provide tenant information. Work schedules, relationship status, financial problems. There's more in Newark, Janet added. My husband's poker game was in a building where the super sold entry codes. $50 to know when specific tenants would be home alone. By the end of the week, we'd identified 12 compromised property managers across 3 states, all taking money to sell out vulnerable tenants. We need more than stories, I typed. We need proof that connects everything. I might have something, Denise wrote. Kyle left me a flash drive before he ran. Said it had copies of Asher's real books, the ones showing the actual interest rates, 40% monthly, sometimes higher. That's 480% annually, Maria calculated. Federal usury limit is 36%. Can you send the files? I asked. Not electronically, too dangerous. Asher has hackers on payroll. We'd need to meet in person. The chat went quiet. Meeting meant exposure. It meant risk. I'm in Philadelphia next week for a medical appointment, I typed, for my wrist. We could meet at the hospital. Public place, lots of cameras. I can make it, Maria wrote. Me too, Janet added. Denise sent a thumbs up emoji. We set the date. Thursday, 2 p.m., Jefferson Hospital cafeteria. If something happens to any of us before then, I typed, the others continue. This doesn't stop. Agreed, they all responded. That night, Elena knocked on my door. How's your research going? We found 11 more victims. Documented everything. Federal case building. She smiled. Good. These bastards picked the wrong medical biller to mess with. The black Honda appeared in my rearview mirror 3 blocks from my apartment. At first, I thought nothing of it. Lots of black Hondas in the city, but when I turned left on Maple, it turned left. When I took a right on 3rd Avenue, it followed. When I pulled into the physical therapy clinic parking lot, it drove past slowly, then parked across the street. My hands shook as I walked into the clinic. Through the window, I could see the driver, baseball cap pulled low, watching. Karen, you're early, the receptionist said. Can I use your back exit after my appointment? She looked confused but nodded. During therapy, I kept watching the window. The car never moved. The driver never got out, just sat there, waiting. My therapist noticed my distraction. Your muscles are really tense today. More than usual. Just stressed. After the session, I slipped out the back door, walked 3 blocks in the opposite direction, and called an Uber. The whole ride home, I kept checking behind us. No black Honda. But when I got to my building, I saw it parked across the street. I stopped using the main entrance after that. Started going through the parking garage, taking the service elevator. Elena thought I was being paranoid until her apartment got inspected. 3rd time this week, she said, holding an official notice. Random safety check. They went through my closets, my medicine cabinet, even looked under my bed. What did they say they were looking for? Fire hazards, but Karen, they took pictures of everything. Tommy pulled me aside the next morning. My backup footage is gone, not just corrupted, deleted, from my personal cloud storage. How is that possible? Someone got my password or hacked in. Either way, we lost our best evidence. I have copies, I said. So do I. 3 different drives, but they're sending a message. They can reach us anywhere. That afternoon, HR called. Miss Patterson, we need you to come in regarding the investigation. I sat across from 2 investigators in a conference room that used to feel familiar. Now it felt like an interrogation cell. These documents were submitted as evidence against you. They spread papers across the table, prescription forms with my employee ID, patient records showing alterations, all with my digital signature. These are forgeries. Look at the timestamps. I was in surgery during half of these. You were in surgery? Having surgery. Getting my wrist pinned back together after being assaulted. Check the dates. I pulled up my medical records on my phone, showed them the surgery times. The investigator frowned. These are sophisticated forgeries. Someone with deep knowledge of your system created these. Someone trying to destroy my credibility because I'm building a federal case against a loan shark. They exchanged glances. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation. I have documentation, police reports, medical evidence. We'll need to verify everything. This investigation could take months. Months without income, months without health insurance. Exactly what Asher wanted. That night, Maria messaged our encrypted chat. I'm out. They left a note in my daughter's backpack, at her school, inside her classroom. I can't risk it. 30 minutes later, Janet wrote, my husband suddenly found $20,000 to pay them. Says a friend loaned it to him. I know he's lying, but I can't prove it. I'm sorry. I have to think of my daughter. The network was falling apart, from 12 victims to 3 in one day. They're picking us off, Denise wrote. Divide and conquer. We still meet Thursday? I asked. Long pause. Then Denise responded. I'll be there. Me too, typed Lisa, a new victim who'd joined yesterday. A dental hygienist whose ex borrowed for a food truck business that never existed. 3 of us left. Down from 12. Elena found me crying in my kitchen that night. My wrist throbbing, my savings draining, my career in ruins. You could stop, she said gently. Pay them. Move on. With what money? And they'd own me forever. Besides, they hurt you too. I'm old. I've been hurt before. You're 28, you have your whole life ahead. Not if I let them win. Then I have nothing ahead but fear. She made us tea. We sat in silence, watching the street below. The black Honda was gone, but I knew it would be back. They were always watching now. Always waiting. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Karen Patterson? A woman's voice. Professional, calm. Who is this? Someone who's been watching Asher Jones for 2 years. Keep documenting. Thursday's meeting is more important than you know. The line went dead. Thursday arrived, but we'd moved the meeting to the public library instead of the hospital. I got there 20 minutes early, checked every exit, sat where I could see the door. My wrist throbbed under the cast. 2 o'clock, no Denise, no Lisa, 2:15. A man walked in, tall, brown hair, scar on his left cheek, the enforcer who broke my wrist. He sat down across from me. Karen, I started to stand. He grabbed my good wrist. Sit. I'll scream. Go ahead. Tell them how you invited me to discuss your debt. My phone buzzed. Photos appeared. Me at physical therapy yesterday. Me using the service elevator. Elena at the grocery store this morning. We know what you're doing, he said. Your little federal case, your victim support group. How did you? Lisa isn't a dental hygienist. She works for us. My stomach dropped. Everything in our encrypted chat. They had it all. Federal case? He leaned back. Your word against an established businessman? A man who employs dozens? Pays taxes? He showed me more photos. Me at the pharmacy, at the ATM, walking to my Uber pickup. Accidents happen to people with broken bones. They fall downstairs. Healing bones sometimes just break again. A librarian approached. Everything okay here? Fine, he said, standing. Just discussing a business opportunity. He leaned close as he passed. Drop the case. Pay the debt, or next time it won't be your wrist. I sat frozen until he left, then grabbed my phone. He knew about the meeting, I typed to Denise. Lisa was fake, she responded. I checked. Stock photo. They know everything. Not everything. I never mentioned the flash drive in chat, never said where it's hidden. Are you backing out? Long pause. I'm scared, but I'm angry. If I stop now, they win forever. What about Maria? Janet? Maria hasn't left her apartment in 3 days. Janet's husband found money somewhere. Paid them another $10,000. I looked at my phone. My medical bills had hit $9,000. No job, no income, rent due in 5 days. I can't afford to keep fighting, I typed. You can't afford to stop. They'll own you forever. She was right. Even if I somehow paid the $8,500, there'd be interest. Fees, forever. My phone rang. Sarah from Legal Aid. Karen, where are you? Library. Why? The FBI just called me. They want to talk to you. What? Why now? Someone sent them documentation. Copies of forged loan documents. Multiple victims across state lines. They've been building a case on Asher Jones for 2 years. Your medical records just gave them what they needed. The assault with documented evidence. But they know our plan. Not everything. And now the FBI knows about them too. The FBI meeting gave me hope for exactly 3 days before everything went to hell. It started with the eviction notice taped to my door. Non-payment of rent. I'd paid, had the bank records to prove it, but Marcus claimed he never received it. This is illegal, I told him. Take it up with housing court. You have 30 days. Elena got her notice an hour later. Lease violation, harboring unauthorized guests. I visited you twice, I said. Apparently that's 2 times too many. That afternoon, Tommy texted me. Just got fired, performance issues. What? They said I wasn't logging rounds properly. 15 years, perfect record, and suddenly I'm incompetent. He met me at the coffee shop down the street, slid a USB across the table. Original footage, everything from that night, both cameras, their faces clear as day. Tommy, I can't let you... They already took my job, can't take anything else. I'm moving my family to Phoenix tomorrow. My wife's mother lives there. My phone rang. Mom. Karen, what's going on? Some man just called saying you owe money for drugs. Mom, it's not true. I know that, but he knew where we live, where your father works. Said if you don't pay, we'd be sorry. I was typing a response when my sister's text came through. Screenshot of a Facebook message. My face photoshopped onto someone doing lines of cocaine. This is your sister? Such a shame about her drug problem. Would hate for her boss to see these. My LinkedIn started pinging, comments on old posts. Heard you're a thief. Prescription fraud. Can't trust medical billers these days. Former colleagues who'd promised references stopped returning calls. My professional network, built over 6 years, crumbling in hours. Thursday's physical therapy appointment vanished from the system. I'm looking at my calendar from last week, I told the receptionist. Thursday, 2 p.m. Nothing here, and we're booked solid for 3 weeks. My wrist needs therapy or the nerve damage. Sorry. The pharmacy was next. We can't fill this, the tech said, holding my pain prescription. Why not? System flagged it, potential abuse concerns. I have a broken wrist. Surgery 3 weeks ago. Look. I held up my cast. Sorry. Try another pharmacy. 3 other pharmacies. Same result. Someone had flagged me in the prescription monitoring database. Even food became a problem. Grubhub account suspended. DoorDash suddenly couldn't verify my payment method. Uber Eats claimed my address didn't exist. I sat in my apartment, wrist throbbing without medication, watching the world close in. Couldn't leave without being followed. Couldn't stay without losing my mind. Elena knocked that evening. She'd been grocery shopping for both of us, paying cash, taking different routes each time. They're trying to starve you out, she said. It's working. No, it's not. You're still here, still fighting. With what? No job, no references, no way to pay rent. Medical bills hitting $10,000 now. Can't even get pain meds. You have the FBI. The FBI moves slowly, Asher moves fast. My phone buzzed, text from Jake. Just pay them, Karen. I'll tell them we're back together, split the debt. You pay half, I'll figure out the rest. I showed Elena. He's scared, she said. They're pressuring him too. Good. Another text. They know where your parents live. Your sister's kid's school. This isn't just about you anymore. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall, screen cracking. Just like the phone those enforcers destroyed. Everything they touched turned to broken pieces. What if I just disappear? I asked Elena. Take a bus somewhere, start over. With what money? What name? How do you work without references? And they'd find you anyway. These people don't forget debts. She was right. I was trapped in my own apartment, my own life, watching everything I'd built dissolve while lawyers and FBI agents took their sweet time building cases. The walls felt smaller every day, the air thinner. This is what drowning on dry land felt like. Day 23 without a paycheck, and I was down to $17 in my checking account. I sat on my kitchen floor eating instant ramen for the 3rd time that day. Elena had brought groceries yesterday, but I couldn't keep taking her food. She was on Social Security. She needed every penny. My wrist throbbed constantly now. Without physical therapy, the bones were healing wrong. I could feel it. The way my fingers went numb when I moved them. The shooting pain up my arm. The doctor had warned me about nerve damage if I missed appointments. That was 2 weeks ago. I tried stretching my fingers. They barely moved. The pinky and ring finger stayed curled, frozen. My phone buzzed. New number. Just pay them, Karen. They'll leave you alone. Jake. With what money? I typed back with my good hand. I'll tell them we're back together. Split the debt. You pay half. You want me to pay for your gambling debt? It's not like that. Listen, they pay me a finder's fee. $500 for every woman who pays. I already gave them 5 more names. Old girlfriends, girls from the bar, they all paid up. My stomach turned. You're selling women to loan sharks? They were going to kill me. What was I supposed to do? Besides, you were always too stubborn for your own good. If you'd just paid in the beginning, none of this would have happened. I threw the phone across the room. It bounced off the wall, screen cracking more. 3 a.m., couldn't sleep. Every sound in the hallway made me jump. Footsteps. Were they coming? Just neighbors. Car door slamming outside. Were they here? Just someone coming home late. I opened my laptop and searched bus tickets. Cleveland, $47. Pittsburgh, $52. Baltimore, $58. All more than I had. Plus, I'd need money when I got there. First month's rent somewhere. Food, new phone. How do you start over with nothing? And they'd find me anyway. These people had connections everywhere. 1 credit check, 1 job application. They'd know where I was. A crash from next door. Elena's apartment. I ran over, found her on her kitchen floor, groceries scattered everywhere. I'm fine, she said, but her lip was bleeding. You fell? Tripped. Silly me. But I saw the fear in her eyes, the way she kept looking at her door. Someone had been here. Someone had pushed her. Elena. I'm fine, just clumsy. We both knew she wasn't clumsy. This was a message. Stop helping Karen or next time it's worse. I helped her clean up, went back to my apartment, found a new notice under my door, 72 hours to vacate, Marcus's signature at the bottom. The next morning, I tried to go get groceries. Mrs. Chen from 4B saw me in the hallway, immediately went back inside. Mr. Patterson from 4C crossed to the other stairwell to avoid me. Even the teenage kid from 4F, who I'd helped with his math homework, looked away. I was poisoned now. Everyone knew it. Get too close, and you'd be next. My stomach cramped from hunger. The ramen was gone. Elena couldn't shop for me anymore, not after last night. I called the pizza place down the street. Delivery to apartment 4D? Oh, that address. Sorry, we don't deliver there anymore. Since when? Click. I tried 2 more places. Same result. Someone had called every food place in the area, told them not to deliver to me. I sat on my couch, good hand pressed against my stomach, broken wrist throbbing, watching the room spin from low blood sugar. My medication bottles sat empty on the counter, pain pills I couldn't refill, antibiotics I couldn't afford. Outside my window, that black Honda was back, just sitting there, watching, waiting. 23 days since they broke my wrist. 23 days of fighting back. And what did I have to show for it? No job, no money, no food, nerve damage getting worse every day. Everyone I knew either threatened or too scared to help. Maybe Jake was right. Maybe I was too stubborn. Maybe I should just sign their papers, accept the debt, pay them forever. I looked at the eviction notice. 72 hours. Then what? Homeless with a broken wrist and $9,000 in medical debt? My laptop sat open on the coffee table. Bus ticket website still up. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Cities where I knew nobody, where I could disappear, or where they'd find me in a week and break more than my wrist. The knock at 2 a.m. made my whole body freeze. This was it. Eviction enforcement. Coming to throw me out in the middle of the night. Another knock. Softer. Karen, it's Maria, Tommy's wife. I looked through the peephole. Short woman, maybe 40, holding something in her hand. I opened the door with the chain still on. Tommy wanted you to have this. She held up a USB drive. They can't threaten us anymore. We're leaving for Phoenix in 3 hours. I took the USB through the gap. What's on it? Everything. Not just the assault. 6 months of footage Tommy saved before they made him delete the cloud backup. I let her in. She looked exhausted. Kids' toys visible in a box by her feet. Tommy said to tell you he's sorry he couldn't do more, but this should help. I plugged the USB into my laptop. Files started loading. Dozens of them. All dated, all labeled. The first video made me gasp. Marcus at his desk. 2 men handing him a brown envelope. He counts cash, puts it in his drawer. Clear as day. Timestamp, March 15th, 2:47 p.m. Another video. Same thing. April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th. Tommy documented the pattern, Maria said. Every Tuesday for 6 months. Always the same 2 men. I kept clicking. May, June, July. The amounts getting bigger, the envelopes thicker. Then I saw it. July 23rd. The camera caught one enforcer's face perfectly when he turned to leave. High definition, no hat, no shadows. I need to send this to someone, I said. Maria nodded. Tommy said you'd know what to do. She left as quietly as she came. Just another ghost in the night. I messaged Denise, the real victim, not the fake Lisa. Still have that nurse friend who helped with research? Yeah, why? I need facial recognition on someone. Urgent. I sent her the clearest screenshot, the enforcer who'd broken my wrist, every detail of his face visible. 3 hours later, Denise called. His name is Vincent Torino. My friend ran him through the hospital's security database. They keep photos of banned visitors. Why was he banned? 3 assault convictions, beat up an orderly in 2019, beat his ex-girlfriend in the ER waiting room in 2021, attacked a security guard last year. 3 convictions? Currently on probation. Supposed to be in New Jersey only. Can't leave the state. My heart raced. But he attacked me here in New York. Probation violation, that's immediate arrest. What about the other one? Working on it. But Vincent Torino alone should be enough to force police action. I kept going through the footage, found another clear shot of the second enforcer from August, sent it to Denise. An hour later, she had an answer. Michael Chen. There's an active warrant for check fraud. 3 states looking for him. An active warrant? He's been on the run for 4 months, using fake names, but that's definitely him. I had them. 2 enforcers, 1 on probation who shouldn't be in New York, 1 with an active warrant, both on camera taking bribes from Marcus, both on camera assaulting me. This was the leverage Sarah needed, the FBI wanted, the evidence that couldn't be ignored. I called Sarah at 6 a.m. I have them, Vincent Torino and Michael Chen, probation violation and active warrant. How did you— Tommy left me everything before they moved to Phoenix, 6 months of documentation. Send it. All of it. Now. I uploaded everything to a secure link, sent copies to Sarah, to the FBI contact she'd given me, to Denise for backup. For the first time in 23 days, I felt something besides fear and hunger. Hope. Vincent Torino on probation. Michael Chen wanted for fraud. Asher Jones employing both of them. Marcus taking bribes for 6 months. All documented, all time-stamped, all irrefutable. My wrist still throbbed, my stomach still cramped from hunger. The eviction notice still sat on my counter, but now I had weapons too. The black Honda was still outside. Vincent Torino might even be in it, watching, waiting. But now I was watching him right back. And unlike him, I knew his real name, his criminal history, his probation officer's phone number. The hunters were about to become the hunted. What I didn't know was that my research had triggered something bigger. Federal investigator Lisa Chang had been watching Asher Jones for 2 years, building a case file, waiting for the right evidence. My medical records with documented threats about transfer documents and co-borrower had filled a crucial gap. She sat in her office reviewing my files when her partner walked in. 3 more states just sent similar complaints. Newark, Philadelphia, Baltimore. How many victims total? Conservative estimate, 200. Could be more. Total amount extorted? Over 3 million, that we can trace. Lisa picked up her phone and called Sarah. Keep your client documenting everything. Help is coming. Sarah hung up, confused but hopeful. Meanwhile, Elena's nephew called her that afternoon. Aunt Elena, I heard you got hurt. Just a fall. Mom says it wasn't a fall. Says your neighbor is in trouble with loan sharks. Miguel, you're a sports journalist. This isn't your area. Loan sharks in luxury buildings? That's a story, especially if building management companies with federal contracts are involved. Elena went quiet. Federal contracts? Your building management company has 3 government contracts, housing voucher programs. They can't afford a scandal about compromised managers taking bribes. How do you know about bribes? I don't. Yet. But if there's evidence. Elena looked at my apartment door. There might be. The eviction deadline arrived Thursday morning, and I was trying to pack with one working hand. I'd managed to shove some clothes into a garbage bag when the door pounded hard enough to shake the frame. Marcus stood there with Vincent Torino and Michael Chen. Time's up. I have until noon. Plans changed. Sign the papers acknowledging the debt, or we take you to Asher personally. That's kidnapping. Vincent smiled. It's a business meeting you agreed to attend. Elena appeared in my doorway. She's not going anywhere. Marcus stepped toward her. Get out of the way, old woman. No. He pushed her, hard. Elena fell backward, her head cracking against the doorframe. Blood immediately started pooling on the floor. I dropped to help her. Vincent grabbed my cast. Sign the papers or I snap this wrist again, right here, right now. I screamed. The sound echoed down the hallway. Doors started opening. Mrs. Chen from 4B stepped out with her phone already recording. What are you doing to her? Mind your business, Michael said. Mr. Patterson from 4C was already dialing. Hello, 911. There's an assault happening at my building. 2 women being attacked. The teenager from 4F ran out. I'm recording this. I'm live streaming. His mom appeared behind him also filming. Get away from them. More doors opened. 4A, 4E, 4G. Everyone had phones out. Vincent still had my cast, but his grip loosened as he looked around. We were surrounded. 8 neighbors, all recording, all witnesses. This is private business, Marcus said. Looks like assault to me, Mrs. Chen said. I've got your faces. Clear as day. Elena moaned from the floor. Blood was spreading fast. She needs an ambulance, I said. Already called, Mr. Patterson confirmed. Police too. They'll be here in 2 minutes. Vincent let go of my cast. This isn't over. Yeah, it is, the teenager said, turning his phone toward Vincent. Already got 3,000 viewers. Comments are going crazy. Someone screenshot your face and is running it through image search. Michael grabbed Vincent's arm. We need to go. But Asher said, now! They ran for the stairs. Marcus stood frozen, looking at Elena's blood on his hands. I didn't mean... She shouldn't have. You pushed a 67-year-old woman, Mrs. Chen said. We all saw it. We all recorded it. Sirens grew louder. Marcus backed toward the stairs. This is all Karen's fault. If she'd just paid... Run, Mr. Patterson said. Run before the cops get here and we show them what you did. Marcus ran. I pressed my good hand against Elena's head wound. She was conscious but dazed. Did we win? She asked. I looked at our neighbors, all of them still recording, still standing guard. Yeah, Elena, I think we did. The EMTs arrived in 4 minutes, but those 4 minutes felt like hours. Elena's blood was everywhere, on my hands, on the floor, on Marcus's abandoned clipboard. I kept pressure on her head wound while Mrs. Chen held her hand. Multiple 911 calls about an assault in progress, the first EMT said, dropping beside us. What happened? Building manager pushed her. She hit the doorframe, I said. Pushed? We have it on video, Mr. Patterson said, holding up his phone. Clear as day. The EMT checked Elena's pupils. Probable concussion. We need to transport immediately. 2 police officers arrived as they were loading Elena onto the stretcher. We've got 5 witnesses saying there was an assault, the first officer said. 8 witnesses, the teenager corrected. And I've got 4,000 viewers on my live stream who saw it too. The second officer's radio crackled. A different voice came through. Units at 447 Riverside. Be advised, subjects matching suspect descriptions heading north on foot. That's them, I said. Vincent Torino and Michael Chen, the ones who broke my wrist 3 weeks ago. The first officer looked skeptical until his partner grabbed his arm. Wait, Vincent Torino? I know that name. He pulled out his phone, searched something. He's on probation, Suffolk County, not supposed to leave New Jersey. He's here. In New York, attacking women, Mrs. Chen said. The officer immediately called dispatch. We need backup at 447 Riverside. Possible probation violator, Vincent Torino. Within minutes, 4 more police cars arrived. I heard shouting from the stairwell. Vincent's voice. I didn't do anything. They dragged him past our floor in handcuffs. He saw me and lunged. The officers yanked him back. This isn't over, bitch. Yes, it is, one officer said. Probation violation means you're going straight to county until Jersey comes to get you. Michael Chen tried to run, made it to the 2nd floor before 3 officers cornered him in the stairwell. They found the warrant for check fraud when they ran his prints at the scene. Marcus was in the lobby, trying to explain to anyone who'd listen. I was just executing a legal eviction. I have paperwork. Detective Maria Rodriguez arrived 20 minutes later, tall, serious, took one look at the blood on the floor and turned to Marcus. Show me this eviction paperwork. Marcus handed her the notice. She studied it. This isn't court-ordered. You created this yourself. The tenant hasn't paid rent. I paid, I interrupted. I have bank records. And even if she hadn't, Detective Rodriguez continued, you can't physically remove someone without a court order. That's illegal eviction. Add assault on an elderly woman and you're looking at serious charges. She turned to me. You're Karen Patterson? Yes. We've been building a case on Asher Jones. Your evidence through legal aid got federal attention. The medical notes proving extortion. The USB footage of bribery. Now this. She gestured to the blood, the witnesses, the phone still recording. This is attempted murder twice now. First your wrist, designed to cripple you, now targeting your elderly neighbor who helped you. Marcus went white. I want a lawyer. You'll need one. She nodded to the officers. Book him for assault, illegal eviction, conspiracy to commit extortion. As they led Marcus away, Detective Rodriguez pulled me aside. The FBI wants to move on Asher Jones, today, but they need you to testify. Are you willing? I thought about my broken wrist, my empty bank account, Elena bleeding on a stretcher, the weeks of terror. Yes. There's more. We've identified 43 victims across 4 states. Your documentation methods, the medical evidence, the video proof, you've given us what we needed. Mrs. Chen approached. Detective, we all have videos, multiple angles, everything that happened today. Send them all to this email. Rodriguez handed out cards. Every angle matters. The teenager raised his hand. My live stream chat identified both attackers before you got here. Screenshots and everything. Someone even found Michael Chen's old mugshot. Rodriguez almost smiled. The internet works fast. Faster than loan sharks, he said. Mr. Patterson stepped forward. We're all willing to testify. We saw them attack both women. We heard the threats. Marcus has been taking bribes for months, I added, selling tenant information. There are 11 other building managers doing the same thing. Rodriguez's expression hardened. We know. We're moving on all of them today. An EMT approached. The elderly woman is stable. 12 stitches, definite concussion, but she'll recover. Relief flooded through me. Elena would be okay. Can I see her? She's asking for you. Room 314 at Presbyterian. At Presbyterian Hospital, they put Elena and me in adjacent beds in the emergency room. Elena needed 12 stitches. The gash on her head was deeper than it looked. The doctor kept shining a light in her eyes, checking for concussion symptoms. You're lucky, he said. Another inch to the left and we'd be having a different conversation. While they stitched Elena up, another doctor examined my wrist. When did you last have physical therapy? 2 weeks ago. They canceled my appointments. He frowned at the x-ray. There's additional damage here. See this? He pointed to the screen. The bone's healing wrong. And this nerve damage is progressing. Can you fix it? We'll need another surgery. Soon. The longer we wait, the less mobility you'll recover. A woman in a dark suit appeared in the doorway. Karen Patterson? Yes? I'm Lisa Chang, federal investigator. I've been investigating Asher Jones for 2 years. She pulled up a chair between our beds. Elena turned to listen. Your documentation is the best we've seen. Medical records with exact quotes, video evidence of bribery, witnesses to multiple assaults. You've given us what we needed. So you'll arrest him? We're moving on him today. But we need you to testify, both of you. They'll come after us, Elena said. We can offer witness protection. I looked at my broken wrist, at Elena's stitches, at the blood still under my fingernails. No, I'm finishing this. No hiding. Lisa nodded. I respect that, but you should know the media's picked this up. She showed me her phone. Elena's nephew's article was everywhere. When loan sharks live next door, had 30,000 shares in 2 hours. My nephew's a good writer, Elena said weakly. The building management company is in crisis mode, Lisa continued. Their CEO called an emergency meeting an hour ago. My phone buzzed. Sarah calling. Karen, you won't believe this. Marcus was fired. The building management company just announced it. Full cooperation with the investigation. They're throwing him under the bus. Good. There's more. Your suspension at work? HR just called. They found proof the complaints were fabricated. Your medical records show you were in surgery when half these prescriptions were supposedly altered. So I can go back to work? With full back pay, plus damages for defamation. I started crying. Elena reached over and squeezed my hand with her good one. Lisa's phone rang. She listened, then smiled. Asher's trying to flee. He's at Teterboro Airport with a bag full of cash. Will you catch him? Already did. Arrested him 10 minutes ago. 3.2 million in accounts we've frozen so far. Elena's nephew appeared in the doorway with flowers and a recorder. Aunt Elena, are you okay? I'm fine, Miguel. He looked at me. I'd like to interview you. Both of you. This story needs to be told right. Lisa stood. I'll leave you to it. Karen, we'll need you at the federal building tomorrow. Can you make it? I looked at my cast, my hospital gown, Elena's bandages. I'll be there. Good. Bring everything, every document, every recording, every piece of evidence. She left. Miguel sat down with his recorder. Start from the beginning, he said. Elena laughed, then winced from the pain. Which beginning? When they broke her wrist? When I recorded it? When they came for us today? All of it, he said. People need to know how this happens. How loan sharks operate in plain sight, how building managers sell out tenants, how the system protects them until someone fights back. A nurse came in with discharge papers. You're both free to go. Follow up with your primary doctors within 48 hours. Where will you go? Elena asked me. You can't go back to the apartment. Not tonight. Sarah said legal aid has emergency housing, just for tonight. You'll stay with me, Elena said. My couch pulls out. Elena, you have a concussion. And you have a broken wrist. We'll take care of each other. Miguel helped us get a taxi. As we pulled away from the hospital, I saw the news vans arriving. This is really happening, I said. It's just starting, Elena said. Tomorrow you tell the FBI everything, then court, then trial. You think we'll win? She looked at her nephew typing on his phone, already writing the story, at the news vans, at my cast and her bandages. We already did. They just don't know it yet. They moved us to a hotel that night under protective custody. Not arrested, just material witnesses. 2 federal marshals sat outside our room. Elena slept on one bed with an ice pack on her stitches. I sat on the other, staring at my phone as the news exploded. Loan shark kingpin arrested at private airport. Sarah called at midnight. Asher tried to flee. They got him at Teterboro with a duffel bag full of cash. How much? 800,000 in hundreds, plus they've frozen 3.2 million in his accounts. I did the math. All those broken bones, all those terrified women, 3.2 million. How many victims? 27 confirmed so far, more coming forward every hour. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Karen? A woman's voice, crying. Who is this? Jessica, Jake's sister. They arrested him an hour ago. My chest tightened. Good. He named 11 other women, gave addresses, phone numbers, said he got $500 for each one who paid. He sold women to loan sharks for $500. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you about him years ago. I hung up. Couldn't process Jake right now. Elena stirred. You okay? My wrist needs surgery again, tomorrow or the day after. How bad? The nerve damage is partially permanent, maybe 30% mobility loss, maybe more. She sat up slowly, holding her head. I'm sorry. For what? You saved me. You recorded everything, you stood up to them. And look where we are. Hotel room, guards outside, hiding, not hiding, waiting. My phone lit up with texts. Maria, the nurse victim, was testifying tomorrow. Janet, the teacher, had decided to come forward. Denise was flying in from Philadelphia with the flash drive. Sarah texted, major firm taking the civil case pro bono. Wallace and Associates. They smell blood in the water. Then another. Criminal prosecutors are going for RICO charges. This is huge. I looked at my cast, at Elena's bandages, at the guards' shadows under the door. Elena, what if they get good lawyers? What if they walk? Then we did everything we could. That's not enough. It has to be. We sat in silence. CNN played on mute, our building on screen, Marcus in handcuffs, Asher at the airport, my broken wrist in the hospital that first night. 27 victims, I said, that we know of. There'll be more. There always are. A knock at the door. We both froze. It's Agent Chang. Can I come in? She entered with a box of files. These are copies of everything we have. I want you to see it. All of it. Photos of other victims, broken fingers, black eyes, one woman's jaw wired shut. This is what you're stopping, Lisa said. This is what your testimony will end. I picked up one photo. A young woman, maybe 22, both arms in casts. She paid? Her parents did. Took out a second mortgage. She tried to kill herself 2 weeks later. I put the photo down. When do we testify? Grand jury tomorrow, 2 p.m. Are you ready? I looked at Elena, at our injuries, at the box of broken women. We're ready. Lisa stood to leave, then turned back. You should know Jake gave us everything. Every woman he targeted, every payment he received, every communication with Asher. He's trying to cut a deal. Will he get one? 2 years instead of 10, if he testifies. That's all? 2 years? It's 2 years more than he would have gotten without your evidence. Without your fight. She left us with a box of horrors. Proof of what we were stopping. Proof of why we couldn't quit now. Elena reached over and closed the box. Tomorrow we end this. Tomorrow we try. The guards shifted outside our door. Somewhere Asher sat in a federal holding cell. Vincent in county jail. Michael in custody. Marcus out on bail. And tomorrow, we'd face them all. 4 months later, I sat in federal court with my cast finally off but my left hand barely functioning. Show the jury your range of motion, the prosecutor said. I tried to make a fist. My thumb and index finger moved. The other 3 stayed frozen, curled at odd angles. The surgery hadn't fixed the nerve damage. This is 6 surgeries and 4 months of physical therapy? She asked. Yes. I watched the jury stare at my mangled hand. The prosecutor pulled up my medical records on the screen. Can you read what the intake nurse wrote? Patient states attackers said, quote, boyfriend signed transfer documents, need her signature as co-borrower, end quote. Time, 9:47 p.m. And what did the defendants tell police? That they were discussing a business opportunity. Vincent Torino sat at the defendant's table in an orange jumpsuit. He'd taken a plea deal the night before. 18 months suspended sentence for testifying against Asher. He'd be out in 6 months with good behavior. Michael Chen had pled guilty that morning. 6 months actual jail time because of his priors. He kept his head down, wouldn't look at me. Marcus took the stand after lunch. I gave them tenant schedules, he said, work hours. When they'd be alone, who had money problems. How much did they pay you? $500 a month for 6 months. $3,000 total. And what happened to Karen Patterson? I told them she worked late on Tuesdays. That she'd been paying rent on time, so she probably had savings. The prosecutor showed the video from Tommy's USB, Marcus taking envelopes, counting cash, week after week. I was scared, Marcus said. They threatened to have the building condemned. So you sold out your tenants instead. I'm not proud of it. He got immunity for testifying, walked out of court that same day. Asher Jones's trial took 3 days, 47 counts of loan sharking, 12 counts of conspiracy to commit assault, federal RICO charges for running an interstate criminal enterprise. His lawyer tried everything, said Jake had real debts, said I'd agreed to be a co-borrower, said the broken wrist was an accident during a misunderstanding. Then Denise took the stand with the flash drive, Asher's real books, 40% monthly interest, sometimes 50, names, amounts, threats, all documented. Maria testified about her broken fingers, Janet about her burned car. 23 victims total took the stand. Jake testified on day 3. They'd cleaned him up, put him in a suit, but he still looked like the coward he was. I gave Asher 11 names, he said. Women I dated. Women from bars. Karen was the biggest score. She had good credit, steady job. How much did Asher pay you? $500 per woman who paid. I made $5,500 total. You sold 11 women for $5,500? I had debts. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on 43 counts. Asher stood there, no expression, as they read each verdict. Guilty, 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 43 times. Vincent got his 18 months suspended, out that day with an ankle monitor. Michael got 6 months. Would serve 4 with good behavior. Marcus walked free with immunity, but Asher Jones got 7 years federal prison. No parole for federal crimes. He'd serve at least 5 years, 8 months. The judge also ordered fines. $450,000. All the loans declared void. His business licenses revoked permanently. I sat there watching them lead him away in shackles. 7 years. For destroying hundreds of lives. For leaving me with 30% mobility in my left hand. For giving me nightmares I'd have forever. Elena squeezed my good hand. It's something. It's not enough. It never is. But it's something. Jake got 2 years for fraud and conspiracy. He cried when they sentenced him. Actually cried, said he was sorry, said he'd changed. The judge didn't care. 2 years. He'd be out in 16 months with good behavior. 16 months for selling 11 women to violent loan sharks. I walked out of federal court into November rain. My left hand throbbing. My bank account still empty. My credit still destroyed. But Asher Jones was going to federal prison. It wasn't justice. It wasn't enough. But Elena was right. It was something. Walking out of the courthouse into that November rain felt like breathing after being underwater for months. The civil case settled 2 weeks later. Wallace and Associates had the building management company terrified. Their lawyers showed up with 3 briefcases and settlement offers. $220,000, my lawyer said, split between you and Elena. That's it? They have federal contracts worth millions. They'll pay this to make it go away. I looked at my mangled hand. Take it. Elena got $60,000. I got $160,000. After legal fees, I had $97,000 left. The building management company issued new policies that same day. All managers background checked, monthly audits, security cameras in every hallway and stairwell, no more privacy concerns. Tommy got his job back with 6 months back pay. Called me crying when they offered it. They promoted me to head of security, said they needed someone with integrity. My reinstatement letter from MedBill Solutions came with a check for $23,000, lost wages plus defamation damages. HR wouldn't look me in the eye when I went back. We're deeply sorry for the misunderstanding, my supervisor said. Misunderstanding. That's what they called believing forged documents from loan sharks. The victim compensation fund covered my medical bills. All $47,000. Every surgery, every therapy session, every prescription they'd blocked me from filling. But the paperwork came with another form, permanent partial disability determination. 30% loss of function in left hand, the doctor wrote. Nerve damage irreversible, chronic pain expected. 30% sounded clinical, clean. It meant I couldn't type for more than an hour without my hand cramping. Couldn't open jars, couldn't play piano, not that I ever could before. Couldn't make a proper fist if someone came at me again. Jake's restitution order came through in December. He owed each victim $5,000, $55,000 total, to be paid at $100 a month from prison wages. I did the math. At prison wages of 23 cents an hour, it would take 46 years. His lawyer sent a letter. Mr. Williams expresses deep remorse and plans to make full restitution upon release. I burned it in Elena's sink. Asher's accounts paid out more. The frozen $3.2 million got distributed among victims. After the government took their cut and lawyers got theirs, each victim received about $38,000. Maria used hers for therapy and moving costs, got her daughter out of Brooklyn entirely. Janet paid off her burned car and bought security cameras for her new apartment. Denise went back to school, said she'd become a paralegal, help other victims document their cases. Marcus never went to prison. Immunity deal held. But the news story Elena's nephew wrote destroyed him. No building would hire him. Last I heard, he was working at a car wash in Queens. Vincent Torino was out in 4 months. Ankle monitor for a year. Spotted him once at a grocery store. He saw me, turned, and walked the other way. Fast. Michael Chen served his 6 months. Deported immediately after to Taiwan, where he had family. The check fraud warrant meant he could never come back. But Asher Jones sat in federal prison. No early release for federal crimes. 5 years, 8 months minimum. His lawyer filed appeals. All denied. His mother wrote me a letter saying I'd ruined her son's life. That he was just a businessman trying to help people banks wouldn't touch. I kept that letter. Read it when my hand hurt too much to sleep. Reminded me that somewhere, Asher Jones was sleeping on a 2-inch mattress in a room the size of my bathroom. The settlement money went fast. Second surgery on my wrist. New apartment with actual security. First month, last month, security deposit. Moving costs. Therapy twice a week for PTSD. You're showing classic symptoms, the therapist said. Hypervigilance, insomnia, intrusive thoughts. Someone broke my wrist for a debt I didn't owe. I think vigilance is appropriate. But they're in prison now. Some of them. By February, I was back at work full-time. Modified duties. Couldn't handle the filing anymore. Too much repetitive motion. They moved me to quality review. Sitting, reading, checking other people's work. My coworkers treated me like glass. Conversation stopped when I walked by. Everyone knew. The girl who took down a loan shark. The girl with the broken wing. Except it wasn't a wing. It was my hand, and it would never fly again. But Asher Jones was in federal prison. 7 years. Jake was in minimum security. 2 years. And I was free. Sort of. Free was a word that didn't fit right anymore. Like a shoe that's the wrong size. I started therapy in March, twice a week at first. The therapist's office had a 4th-floor walk-up. No elevator. I stood at the bottom of those stairs for 20 minutes the first time, trying to force my legs to move. Take your time, Dr. Martinez said when I finally made it up, sweating and shaking. Stairs, I said. That's all I could manage. Where it happened. Where it started. I couldn't use stairwells alone anymore. Physically couldn't. My body would freeze, heart racing, hands shaking, even the good one. Every sudden noise made me jump. A door slamming. A car backfiring. Someone running up behind me. My whole body would go rigid, ready for impact that never came. Classic PTSD, Dr. Martinez said. Your body's still protecting you from threats that aren't there anymore. Some of them are still out there. But not in every stairwell. Not behind every door. Elena understood without me having to explain. We had dinner together every Sunday now. Her apartment or mine. Never restaurants. Too many strangers. Too many exits to watch. I still check my door 3 times before bed, she said over pot roast one night. I installed 4 deadbolts. I have 5. We laughed. It wasn't funny, but it was something. Thursday nights were group therapy, trauma support. 7 of us in a circle, Elena and me. A man who'd been mugged, a woman whose ex stalked her, another woman who'd survived a home invasion. We all had the same look, always checking the door, always sitting where we could see everyone. The other victims stayed in touch through a WhatsApp group. Asher survivors, Maria named it. Some were doing better. Janet got promoted, started dating again, sent photos from vacation in Miami. Others struggled. Denise's marriage fell apart. Her husband couldn't understand why she'd hidden everything, why she hadn't trusted him. She moved back with her parents in Ohio. One woman lost her job because she couldn't stop having panic attacks at work. Another developed agoraphobia, couldn't leave her apartment for 3 months. But we all survived. That's what we told each other. We survived. I went back to work part-time in April. 3 days a week, 4 hours, max. My hand couldn't handle more, had to use voice recognition software, drag in naturally speaking, talking to my computer like it was a person. Open patient file 447829, input diagnostic code 821.1. My coworkers didn't know how to act around me. They'd start conversations, then stop. Start to complain about something small, then remember my wrist and apologize. You don't have to walk on eggshells, I told Beth from accounting. I saw the news, what they did to you. I'm still me. Are you? I wasn't. We both knew it. But slowly, things normalized. Beth started complaining about her husband again. David from IT asked for help with a billing problem. My supervisor stopped checking on me every hour. The modified duties became permanent in May. Quality review only. No data entry. No filing. Sit. Read checkboxes. Flag errors. Is this enough? My supervisor asked during my review. It has to be. My hand throbbed constantly. Phantom pain, the doctor called it. Nerves firing signals about damage that was already done. Already permanent. Physical therapy helped a little. Strengthened what muscles still worked. Taught me workarounds. How to open jars with my right hand and body weight. How to type with one hand efficiently. How to live with 30%. You're adapting well, the therapist said. I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Some people give up. Then they win. Who? All of them. Asher, Jake, everyone who said I should just pay and move on. Elena and I were at her apartment one Sunday when she asked, "Do you regret fighting back?" I looked at my mangled hand, thought about the nightmares, the therapy bills, the days I couldn't leave my apartment. Then I thought about Asher in federal prison, Jake crying at sentencing, 27 women who got some measure of justice. Future victims who wouldn't be victims because we stopped him. No? Do you? She touched the scar on her forehead, barely visible now, but still there. Never. 6 months after the trial, I finally felt like I could breathe without checking behind me first. My new apartment was on the ground floor. Different building, 8 blocks from the old one. Security cameras at every entrance. Doormen who actually checked IDs. Cost me an extra $400 a month, but I'd pay anything to not use stairs. Elena lived 2 doors down. We'd found the apartments together, made sure we could see each other's doors from our peepholes. Like college roommates, she joked, except with more deadbolts. 5 deadbolts on my door. A security bar that wedged under the handle. Video doorbell that sent alerts to my phone. Still checked it 3 times before opening for anyone. Tuesday night, someone knocked. I checked the video feed. A man in an EMT uniform. Karen? I don't know if you remember me. I'm David. I was the EMT who took me to the hospital that night. I opened the door but kept the chain on. I know this is weird, he said, but I followed the case. Saw you testify. I just wanted to check if you were okay. How did you find my address? I didn't. I'm at the coffee shop down the street. Saw you walk in here. I've been sitting out there for an hour trying to decide if this was creepy or concerned. Both? Yeah, both. I looked at him through the gap. Really looked. Young face, maybe 27. Kind eyes. Hands that had been gentle with my broken wrist when everything else was violence. Coffee? I said. In public. With people around. Of course. We dated for 4 months before I let him kiss me. 5 months before I told him about the nightmares. 6 months before I could fall asleep with him in the room. I'm not easy to be with, I warned him. Neither am I. You know what I see every day at work. He understood checking locks, understood jumping at noises, understood that sometimes I needed to sit where I could see the door. The documentary people called in October. Netflix wanted the story, offering real money. We want to show how loan sharks operate in modern America, the producer said. Your case is perfect. David versus Goliath. Goliath broke David's wrist and gave him permanent nerve damage. Exactly. It's compelling. I said yes, not for the money, though 30,000 helped, but because maybe someone would see it. Some woman whose boyfriend was using her information. Some tenant whose building manager was taking bribes. The interviews took 3 days. They filmed in my apartment, had me walk them through that night, show them my hand. Can you make a fist? I tried. 2 fingers moved. Perfect. The camera loves authentic struggle, like it was a brand. But the documentary led to other things. 3 women reached out after seeing the preview, all in similar situations, all needing help documenting their cases. I walked them through it. How to request medical records, how to file police reports, how to create paper trails, how to stay safe while gathering evidence. They broke your wrist? One asked. Yeah. And you kept fighting? What else was I going to do? Legal aid asked me to write a guide. How to document financial abuse, a survivor's manual. 20 pages of everything I'd learned, every form to request, every recording app that worked, every way to protect yourself while building a case. They printed 5,000 copies, gone in 2 months, reprinted 10,000 more. You're helping so many people, Sarah said. I'm trying. My wrist hurt every time it rained. Bone-deep ache that no medication touched. The doctor said it always would. Barometric pressure changes affecting damaged nerves. Think of it as your weather prediction system, David joked. My wrist weather forecast says storm coming. Then we'll stay in. We were watching TV one night when the news mentioned Asher Jones, some prison reform segment. There he was in orange, talking about rehabilitation. David grabbed the remote to change it, but I stopped him. I need to see. Asher looked smaller, grayer. He talked about finding religion, about making amends, about how the system had failed him too. Do you believe him? David asked. No. But what if he has changed? I held up my mangled hand, showed him the 2 fingers that would never bend again. Some things don't get to change. Elena knocked on my door that night. Saw the news. Yeah. You okay? I think so. We sat on my couch, not talking, just being. 2 women who'd fought back and won, sort of. 2 women who'd survived. They thought we'd fold, Elena said. They were wrong. They thought arresting Asher Jones would end it, but loan sharks are like roaches. You kill one nest, they build another 3 blocks away. The federal investigation expanded after our trial. 127 victims identified across 4 states. 14 more loan sharks arrested, but for everyone they caught, 2 more popped up. They're targeting elderly immigrants now, Agent Chang told me during a follow-up call. Same model, different victims. I testified at the state legislature in January, stood in front of 30 politicians with my mangled hand visible, talking about 40% monthly interest rates. We need stronger usury laws, I said. Current penalties are nothing compared to profits. The committee chair checked his phone while I talked. Thank you for your testimony. We'll take it under advisement. Translation, not a priority. 3 months later, they passed a watered-down bill, raised maximum penalties from 5,000 to 10,000. Asher had made $3 million. Do the math. Jake got out after 14 months. Good behavior. Time served. Whatever they call letting predators out early, Sarah called me when she heard. He's running scams on the elderly now. Fake Medicare supplements. Of course he is. I contacted Adult Protective Services, gave them his photo, his methods, his history. They took notes, said they'd watch for complaints. 2 weeks later, an 80-year-old woman lost her savings to a Medicare advisor named Jason Williams. Jake's new name. I couldn't save her, couldn't save them all, but I saved who I could. 3 women that month alone who reached out after seeing the documentary. Elena published her memoir in February. The woman who wouldn't mind her business. Slim book, 200 pages, direct, honest, like her. All proceeds went to the victim fund. $20,000 in the first month, enough to help 6 women escape their situations. They want me to do a book tour, she said over Sunday tea. Will you? I'm 70, I have a bad hip and PTSD, what do you think? She did 3 cities. Stopped when someone rushed the stage at a reading. Just a drunk fan, but still. We both knew how quickly fans became threats. The nightmares never stopped. Different versions of the same theme. Sometimes I was back in that stairwell. Sometimes Elena was bleeding out while I watched. Sometimes my other hand snapped like a twig. Elena had her own. Woke up screaming about blood she couldn't stop. About pushing that wouldn't end. About men who kept coming no matter how many times she said no. Do you think it gets easier? She asked one particularly bad night. No, I think we just get better at carrying it. Some mornings I woke up and felt almost normal. Made coffee. Checked emails. Forgot for whole minutes that my hand didn't work right. Other mornings I couldn't get out of bed. David would bring me tea, sit quietly while I stared at nothing. He never asked if I was okay. He knew I wasn't. Recovery wasn't a straight line. It was a spiral. Same territory, different altitude. Each loop a little higher than the last, but still circling the same drain. Maria called in March. Asher's lawyers are appealing again. Let them. Aren't you worried? Every day, but worry doesn't change anything. The system kept grinding. More victims came forward. More loan sharks got arrested. More got released on technicalities. More started operating. I kept writing guides, kept consulting on cases, kept showing people my mangled hand and saying, this is what happens when you don't document everything. Adult Protective Services called in April. They'd caught Jake scamming 3 elderly women. He was looking at 5 more years. It's something, the investigator said. Something. That word again. Never enough. Never justice. Just something. Elena and I sat on my couch that night, not talking about Jake or Asher or the 2 fingers that would never bend or the scar on her forehead or the nightmares we'd both have later. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, I said. Your wrist telling you? 70% chance. We'll have tea. And not talk about it. About what? She said, and we both almost smiled. That's what healing looked like. Not talking about it. Having tea while it rained. Pretending the ache was just weather, not memory. My wrist weather forecast is 70% chance of rain tomorrow. Elena and I will have tea. We'll talk about everything except that night, and somehow, that's become its own kind of healing.